And to the campaign trail and a rocky start for the president's re-election effort. Not one, not two, but three major issues leaving the Obama campaign team off message in recent weeks. Let's go to the tape.
This is my last election.
Yeah,
After my election, I have more flexibility.
I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and understand with me.
At 4 years, what we've heard is the biggest problem on the bench was judicial activism or a lack of judicial restraint. That an unelected group of people would somehow overturn a duly constituted and passed law.
What you have is Mitt Romney running around the country saying, well, you know, my wife tells me that what women really care about are economic issues. And when I listen to my wife, that's what I'm hearing. Guess what? His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. She's never really dealt with the kinds of economic issues that a majority of the women in this country are facing.
Joining me now for a fair and balanced debate, syndicated radio host Mike Gallagher and syndicated radio host Leslie Marshall. Both are Fox News contributors. All right, panel. So this is interesting. Whether you agree that these are, you know, the president said the right thing or the wrong thing, the White House has been having to deal with this, which has put them off message. But is that a real problem for them, Mike?
Well, it's a huge problem. I mean, anybody in politics will tell you that anytime you're on the defensive and you're having to go off message, as you so aptly put it, Megyn, it's a problem. And listen, if this is a baseball analogy and this is the bottom of the first inning, I have to of the re-election effort for Barack Obama, the starting pitcher is getting shellacked, and any good manager would pull him out of the game. This is a train wreck. I mean, and it's one thing after another. It's not just one incident. I'll tell you one thing that I'm surprised about is the mainstream media jumping all over the Hillary Rosen issue in a very powerful way. They're leaving a little bit, you know, one of the things that's laughable is that the president referred to her as simply someone on television. Well, that just someone on television happens to have apparently visited the White House at least 30 times. If she was a frequent flyer, in terms of White House visits, she'd be the Executive Platinum Club. So he's going to try, but I don't know that he successfully distances himself from this attack on not only, you know, people who are financially successful, but stay-at-home moms.
Leslie, there's plenty of debate going on right now about Hillary Rosen and what she said, but it's an issue that the vice president had to comment on, the president had to comment on, Axelrod, the president's campaign manager, Messina, had to comment on. I mean, down the line, they've been focused on Hillary Rosen over the past few days, and before that, they were focused on the president's comments about the Supreme Court, which he had to spend 3-4 days dialing back, and before that, he had the off-mic moment with Medvedev. That's, you know, what, now 2.5, 3 weeks that he hasn't been talking about what the Democrats have termed the war on women and the other issues that they hope will drive this re-election.
And that's what's going to happen in an election year. If he sneezes, that's what we'll talk about next week. I mean, and let's talk about sneezing. Right now, Romney is being shown as ahead of the president, or really neck and neck. It's a tie when you look at the 3 to 4% margin of error in a poll. Yeah. Last week, Washington Post basically had the president ahead. Week before that, president ahead in swing states. That's what's going to happen. It's a roller coaster ride poll-wise. This is going to be, I've always said, and I think Mike would agree with me, this is going to be a very, very tight race. This is going to be actually a very exciting race, a nail-biting race. But are these a bit of distractions? Yes. Is it expected in an election year? Absolutely. And we're going to see more of this between now and November on both sides.
Mike, and let me ask this. I say this with due respect to President Obama, but he had trouble when he was first president and when he was running for president, when he was off prompter, when he was off script. Right. And there were reports that his team then said to him, you need to stick to the prompter so, you know, you don't get in trouble or say the wrong thing. 2 of the 3 things we just showed were the president what appeared to be off prompter, although Dana Perino theorized as a former White House press secretary, he wouldn't have said that stuff about the Supreme Court if he hadn't run that by his team. I don't know what the truth is. But is this the danger a politician runs when they go sort of, you know, on their own and, you know, off the prepared message from the campaign?
Listen, I think, Megyn, it's fair to say that this has to be a president who sort of feels under siege. I mean, yesterday he hosted a round of local TV interviewers who came into the White House. One of them just cornered him basically and said, my viewers are saying that you're off jetting around the country on these expensive vacations while Americans are suffering. And the president just appeared completely flummoxed and surprised at that. I mean, listen, let's face it, Mitt Romney has been said to have had a problem with women voters. Republicans were falsely accused of this so-called war on women over the contraceptive issue. Now you've got this completely turned around, and it's liberal Democrats who look like they have declared a war on women, specifically working moms. This is not good for President Obama, and if this keeps coming from now till November, it won't be a nail-biter, Leslie. With all due respect, there's no way President Obama stands a chance this side of Hades of being reelected.
Give you the last word on that.
So
one,
when he is reelected, can we come back, Megyn, when he is reelected, and Mike, you can just say, I'm sorry, Leslie, you were right. You were right.
And we'll see.
I've heard Mike say that before.
I like
it is
your
quite
confidence.
gratifying.
Once in a while.
All right, guys, I got to leave it at that. Thank you both so much.
Thanks, ladies. All right,
Thank
take
you,
care.
Megyn.